Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of the broadcast. I'm Rob, President and CEO of Broadway Medical Supply, Team Broadway, finding solutions together, 60 Washington Avenue, Westwood, New Jersey. I'm here again, second broadcast with my very dear friend and newest collaborator in what we are calling the progressive wellness space, Dr. Thomas Seager, CEO of Morozko Forge, associate professor at Arizona State University. My man, Thomas, good afternoon, sir.
Thanks for having me here again, Rob.
Tom, pleasure to have you. Want to tell you how super stoked we are about our new partnership with Morozko and just entering a new phase of wellness, proactive wellness. Again, it's something that you and I have collaborated on for a couple minutes now. So let's get into it a little bit more as far as your feelings and how you feel our new collaboration it will reach a lot of people and change some lives.
That sounds good to me.
So we already know a couple of the ways we're going to do it. Cold immersion therapy being one of them. Also Morozko's newest product, the Morozko Mineral Bath, another great product that I'm super excited to bring to the people. Tom, genius as always. Green light therapy. We just got our green light unit. We're actually trying it out now in our showroom, so you kind of should come in and try the green light. We're going to be actually, Tom and I will be collaborating on a project in the red light sector as well. We're really super excited about that, Tom. So what's your thoughts as far as bringing these different solutions into the Broadway realm or into mainstream in general?
Let's talk about the status quo in medical supply and how you're challenging it, Rob. The usual business for Broadway Medical, at least in the past, has been older people reach a stage in their life in which they feel incapacitated in some way. So they need a lift chair, they need a walker, they need a wheelchair, they need a hospital bed. And these appurtenances, these devices, this equipment, it does two things. It makes it easier for their care providers to give them the proper care. A hospital bed, for example. Now you don't need 3 people to lift the patient out of the hospital bed because the bed is doing the work. And it makes the patient more comfortable as they become less capable. The problem with that for people my age, I'm going to be 60 this year, and my parents, God rest their soul, have passed on. But there's a lot of people my age who are caring for those patients. So their parents might be in their 80s, and they're showing up at Broadway Medical. They're shopping for that hospital bed for mom or dad. The problem is, what's that 60-year-old going to do in another 10 or 15 years? What are we going to pass this hospital bed down from one generation to another? Nobody walks into your store wanting to pick out a hospital bed that's going to become a family heirloom. So, any customer of yours that is in this elder care situation has got to be thinking, how do I avoid being a Rob Carpenito customer? You don't want to use any of your own equipment. You might walk through your showroom and say, hey, this is a great lift chair right here, thinking I never even want to be my own customer ever. How do we give those people who are 60s, 50s, wherever they are in their life, it could be 70s, how do we give them decades of capability? How do we turn back the biological clock on their aging so they don't need all the products that the medical industry is now ready to sell them, so they don't need those caregivers, so that their mitochondria are strong, their muscles are strong, their metabolism is strong, well past the age that their parents needed these medical devices. And the answer here is the cold therapy, the red light therapy, the green light therapy. Instead of the medical devices where the FDA comes in after the fact and says, well, this is approved by the insurance company for people who have lost critical capabilities. We're in the business now of preserving and extending and enhancing those capabilities so that they don't give a crap what the FDA does. They don't need their insurance company anymore. They've learned to take care of themselves by adopting these technologies that connect their bodies back to nature, that take care of their mitochondria, that give them a more natural environment in which their body is going to thrive without having to go live in a cave or something radical, without giving up the technological comforts that we're all, used to by now. I'm not giving up my central heat. I live
Mm-hmm.
in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm not giving up my air conditioning. But what am I going to do to compensate for the fact that every comfortable device in my life is going to make me a little sicker and a little older? That's where the ice bath comes in. That's where the grounding comes in. That's where the red light comes in to restore those things that my technological existence has separated me from in nature, knowing that my body still needs them.
That's really something. I mean, you hear it all the time: diet and exercise, diet and exercise, diet and exercise. And we speak about that quite a bit, Tom. And I've heard you in other podcasts where you discuss that. But that's such a small part of the whole big picture. Uh,
Agreed.
as far as solutions that I've seen, yeah, diet and exercise size is important. But most of my clients that come in, they're in pain. They're immobile, and there are times I just shake my head. The worst thing I think you can give up is your mobility in general. From the minute you the minute you sit down on that couch and don't get up again, you're just missing out on life. That's why I think these proactive solutions now, re-educating people in the cold sector. Cold isn't a bad thing. I mean, I remember the first day I started, 40 degrees, I lasted 5 seconds. Started at 55, found my comfort zone. Now you see pictures of me on Instagram on Morozko Forge with my eyeball up to my eyeballs in ice. Now, is that for everybody? No. Different strokes for different folks. But the beauty of Morozko is you have that versatility. You can still get the effects of the grounding, you still get your cold, and you don't have to go crazy with it.
Let's let's talk about the exercise because you spend 2 seconds on Instagram and you think you're supposed to be doing like these incredibly strenuous free weight deadlift gym workouts. Vacuuming is exercise. Walking up the stairs is exercise. Walking to work or parking your car the furthest away from your office door so you can get an extra 1,000 steps, that's exercise. Taking the stairs instead of the escalator, that's exercise. Everything counts as exercise. There was a study, I had Alex Tarnava tell me about it. He invented the hydrogen water tablet. And he said there was
Saw
a
that
study of
broadcast. It's
hydrogen
great.
water and elderly people. And the test was the sit stand test. Can you stand up out of a chair? Now, for some people, that's considered exercise. He took these elderly people during COVID. They're locked up, they're watching their televisions, they're scared as hell about their health because they are the population that is most at risk. They're not going to the gym. You could tell them diet and exercise, but under the lockdowns, what are they really going to do? Half the people, they got the hydrogen water tabs, and the other half, nothing, just regular water. The people who got the hydrogen water performed better on the sit stand test of mobility at the end of the 3 months trial than they did at the beginning. What does that mean? They got more fit, they got more mobile, and they didn't do it because they were going to physical therapy or going to the gym. They did it because they were drinking the hydrogen water that improved their gut microbiome and improved their metabolism. In other words, their bodies had more energy and their muscles were capable of processing that energy because they fixed their mitochondria and their gut microbiome by drinking the hydrogen water. We all have to start somewhere. And for most of us, It's not going to be starting with, washboard abs like it's some kind of Instagram model
Right.
throwing the weights around at the gym. We can start with our metabolism. As our energy levels go up, as our confidence improves, of course we can do more. Maybe we go from the sit stand test to doing squats. Then maybe we do some walking lunges. And the next thing you know, we're feeling like 15 years younger because we're taking care of our mitochondria and we're taking care of our metabolism. It's the metabolism through the mitochondria that are responsible for those energy levels, for that motivation, for that idea that you're like, I can do it and I'm going to keep going.
That's, you know what, Tom? It really doesn't take a lot when you think about it. It's just taking that first step, which, people look at it as, and I'm not throwing shade on modern medicine. I'm really not. I think at the end of the day, the let me take a pill, and that's going to be my quick fix. And like we discussed before, what you take doesn't always affect the one ailment that's bothering you. There's always ancillary effects on other parts of the body, correct?
Well, the body is a complex system, not a machine. You can't just take one, gear out of your body and replace it with a new one and not affect everything else that's going on in your body because everything in your body is connected to everything else. I'm not happy with modern medicine. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm an
Mhm.
engineer. My doctorate is in engineering and I teach engineering. So, fortunately, I'm not vested in the modern institutional medical paradigm, but I've been watching what happens with the American Diabetes Association, what happens to the American Heart Association, what happens to these associations of medical doctors and the advice that they've been giving and how that advice is making people sicker. Life expectancy in the United States peaked at around 2014 and it's been bouncing around and going down ever since. If we're investing billions of dollars in medical research as we are, and we're bringing new drugs to market, new devices to market, then why isn't America living any longer? We are now part of the first generation that cannot expect to live as long as their parents. And the reason for that is because the modern medical establishment has a financial interest in keeping you sick. Chronic illness is the most profitable illness. There's no money in curing you. So I saw a new article came out today. ABC News is publicizing a new pill that Merck came out. And this pill is supposedly more effective than ever at lowering cholesterol levels.
Oh, great.
What the article did not say is cholesterol is healthy. Cholesterol is essential for the proper function of your brain and the proper function of your sex hormone synthesis. Cholesterol is manufactured in your body because your body needs it. What's dangerous about cholesterol is when it becomes glycated, when it becomes attached to a glucose molecule. That's when it can turn into plaque in your veins and is associated with a higher risk of heart disease. This pill that Merck is coming out with is lowering your cholesterol, which is an essential component in your bloodstream, and not doing anything about your glycation. You're much better off targeting your metabolism and your blood sugars than you are targeting your cholesterol. But ABC News isn't going to tell you that. Merck is not going to tell you that because once you buy an ice bath from Morozko, you don't need their damn pill anymore. And now what? You're no longer a Merck customer. You're not taking the statins. You're not taking the blood pressure medication. You're not taking all the prescriptions that your doctor has got you on and told you that you're going to need them for the rest of your life because instead, you're fixing your underlying metabolic issue.
You know what? I was going to raise my hand right in the middle of what you were saying. Since I started cold immersion, and again, I was skeptical in the beginning. I started with the cold showers, and then progressed my way to where I am now, which is I'm probably still out of my mind for the way I do it, but it works for me. got me off a statin, got me on a very, very low blood pressure pill, which I'm coming off of that, got me off TRT, and my testosterone still levels out at about 900, which, listen, I'm on the 6th floor. So I'm already here, brother. You'll be here in April. I've been here since August. But I can tell you, I've never felt better. My clarity, my mental resilience, blood labs. I mean, there's a lot here. There'll be some collaborations we're going to do, I'm sure, with doctors in the same sector that do it through diet and supplementation. I think where Morozko and what you've created, I think you're more cutting edge, and like we said, where diet and exercise plays a small part. There's a whole other section that needs to be addressed that I can't think of anybody else that can do it better than you. I've been following your podcast for a long time. Like I said in our initial broadcast, the way I found you was, again, it takes me an hour and a half to drive to Broadway Medical every day, so I'd listen to your podcast, and the one day I call Morozko, holy mackerel, who answers the phone? And then here we are now. So it's just funny the way life works out. But in where it all ties in is, I think as people become more versed and see that the cold isn't going to hurt. The cold can be your friend. If you start out with your N=1, what's good for you. I think we're going to do a lot of good. As a matter of fact, I know we're going to do a lot of good and help a lot of people.
I agree.
Big thing coming up. Tom is going to be a feature speaker at the Abilities Expo in Edison, New Jersey, May 1st and 2nd. We're very excited for that he's going to be there. Also, Morozko will be on display in their own booth, so you could come and see the forge for yourself, try it. We're going to try to get the ice going in it. Maybe I'll go in it. Wait a minute. I'm going to go in. I'm going to go in with my Viking hat on. You guys will see me firsthand doing that. We're going to have a lot of fun. Tom's going to be there signing books. He's going to be there. You come meet him. Come find out more about Morozko and the forge. I think once people hear what you have to say, we can change perspective and hopefully change some minds, Tom.
I hope so.
I hope so, too. Well, this was episode 2 of our ongoing series. We're going to address in future episodes specific ailments where cold and red light can help as far as Parkinson's goes, inflammation in general. Tom talks about it all the time, insulin resistance, boosting your mitochondria. And, sometimes you look at, when I try to throw the verbiage out there, people look at me with that, like a turkey looking up at the rain. And, when you reframe it and, listen, you have good cells and bad cells in your body. As we get older, obviously, your body's not producing as many good cells as it is bad cells. When you lose that balance, that's when things start to happen, and that's when you need to look for other solutions. And like I said, cold diet and exercise is one part. Cold is one part, but when you merge both worlds together, like I saw with me, diet and exercise. I mean, I was almost 290 pounds. I mean, it really, minor changes, over time, you make big progress. And again, there's no quick fix. There's no quick pill, Tom.
Let me boil this down for our audience. I have a good friend. His name is Ben Bickman. He's at Brigham Young University. He's a professor of biology. He wrote a book called Why We Get Sick. It used to be we got sick because we caught some infectious disease. It doesn't really happen anymore. We have clean air. We have clean water. We have antibiotics when we do get a bacterial infection. Ben says the reason we get sick is insulin resistance. It is metabolism. Every single leading cause of death in the United States from chronic illness originates in insulin resistance. So we're not talking about the suicides. We're not talking about the car crashes. We're talking about heart disease. We're talking about Alzheimer's. We're talking about obesity. We're talking about chronic illness that, like cancer, that results in death. Every single one of them originates in insulin resistance. So Ben Bickman in Why We Get Sick is explaining what is insulin resistance and what do we do about it. Insulin resistance is symptomatic of dysfunctional mitochondria. In order to improve your insulin sensitivity, lower your insulin levels, reduce your risk of every single leading cause of death from chronic illness, you got to get your mitochondria working. And the best way to do that is cold water immersion. Other things are helpful. Red light is great. Exercise, very helpful. Get the seed oils out of your diet, terrific. Get some sunshine on your skin, wonderful. And the best way to generate new mitochondria in your body is to do exactly what you're doing now, Rob. Get yourself into that ice bath a few minutes a day, coldest temperature that you could possibly stand, the one that's going to make you go, and scare the crap out of you. You do that 3-4 minutes tops. It doesn't take long. When you get out, you're going to feel like Superman.
You know what's great now that we have the Forge on display at Broadway Medical? The great thing about it is people come in and say, "What is this thing?" And, automatically, whatever I'm doing, I'll stop and I'll come over and I'll talk to them. And I liken it to if you've ever been at Disney World and you're online at Space Mountain. I remember when I was a kid, Space Mountain was this scary, like I wanted nothing to do with that. I can't, no, I'm not going. Then I get up there. Then it's I don't want to go. Then I get up there and you're finally going through it and you're having a great time. And then you get off it. Your first thing you say is, "Wow, I can't wait to do that again."
Let's do it again.
Every morning, I get up, I look at my phone, I look on the app, I see the temperature is 31.6, it's 7 degrees outside. I'm like, Jesus, am I out of my freaking mind? What am I doing? I have a sledgehammer that I go out there with, and I leave the top off of my Forge that I have at my home, and I bash that thing with not the unit, the ice, and watch that ice, and I see the thing bubbling up, and I get in there, and I just breathe through it. And you know what? When you're done, it's like you said, you feel reborn.
Yep.
And again, I think it's important. The big reason why I felt our collaboration was important is in the wellness sector, there aren't enough solutions that will, and again, I'm not throwing shade on my manufacturing partners. I'm in the reactive wellness space. But you know what? There's nothing there that's going to build our mitochondria. There's nothing there that's going to help with insulin resistance. And like you said, these are all very important things that, we're going to address. We're going to get people comfortable with being uncomfortable. And moving forward, you know what? The cold is your friend. But we also have another option, the mineral bath. Now, that is the antithesis of the cold bath, but we're going to talk about that as well, because I think that's another thing coming down the pike that could really benefit people. Can you elaborate on that for a minute, Tom?
There are 3 things wrong with your typical hot tub in America: the chlorine, the fact that it's not grounded, and the fact that most of them can't take minerals. When you go to the natural hot springs, I've been to El Salvador, I've been to Colombia, I've been to Iceland. So you go to these volcanic areas, Japan has these, for example, and you get into those natural hot spring waters that are bubbling up out of the volcano. They are going to be rich in minerals. They are going to be electrically connected to ground, and they're not going to have chlorine in them. They're going to have hydrogen in them. So Morozko has created a mineral bath. It's got the minerals, it's grounded, and it has a hydrogen cycle option. It is the next best thing to a natural hot spring. Whereas a hot tub is going to make you sick, the Morozko Mineral Bath will deliver hydrogen straight into your bloodstream, help fix your microbiome, help fix your mitochondria, and it'll feel way better than the ice bath. Now, I still prefer the ice bath. I spend 10 minutes in the mineral bath and I need a nap. But when I spend 3 minutes in the ice bath, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do a workout. I'm ready to go for a jog. I got all the energy in the world. They complement one another. If you cannot or you will not do an ice bath, you can get 80% of the benefit out of the Morozko Mineral Bath. That's why we created it.
What I'm super excited about is we're actually going to be coming out to Morozko Forge to tour the facility and actually try the different styles of ice bath. I happen to own a forge, which I love. But I told one of the engineers there, Josh, I said, you know what? When we come out there, you better have every one of them ready, and every one of them better be loaded with ice. And so I'm really excited to see everything. I think our best strategy, as far as in our educational series on proactive wellness, we start addressing more direct illnesses that we see day to day, and how our solutions, along with diet and exercise, which can really add some good years on your life.
When we come back next week, let's talk about dementia, mental health, cognitive decline, and how that's related to insulin resistance and mitochondria. We'll talk about how to use cold water immersion therapy to keep your brain sharp. I'm no Instagram model. I'm still a fat college professor, but you can put me in the library and I'm going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger does in the gym. Everything I do is organized around keeping my brain sharp. That's my whole identity.
Yeah.
That's my whole livelihood. And it'll be a good topic for next week.
Tom, I'm looking forward to it. I appreciate all your time. I know our viewers do as well. I'm looking forward to seeing us help a lot of people and hopefully extend some lives, maybe even in some instances save some lives.
Me too.
All right, brother. Have a great week. I'll see you next week, Thomas.
Thanks, Rob.
Take care, pal.